Everybody, welcome to another episode of The Creators Outlet. Please subscribe, comment, and share, and join the family over on YouTube at creatorsoutlet.com. We welcome our special guest tonight, Ted, daviesartistry.com. You look much different than every other website I've been to.
Is that good or bad? I don't know. Hello, everybody, good. By the way. So,
hey, Critical Blast, how are you, RJ? Thank you, sir.
How you doing? Well, that's good. I like to be a little different. There's nothing wrong with that.
Oh, yeah.
It makes you stand out.
Yeah. Right? You get the hat and
yeah, that's kind of my thing. My I think everybody's got a shtick, and it's my hair. This is kind of the COVID curl thing. I haven't been to I went to a barber I think once the last year. That's about it. It's getting better here, but yeah, it's just my this is who I am. So I'm just an artist. Love me or hate me. That's it. So
yeah, I got the COVID bald thing.
Yeah, I thought about doing that.
I just keep shaving my head because nothing grows in right. It's like the neighbor's bad lawn with the patches of dead grass everywhere, and I go, oh man, I just look like a psychotic person that should be in like a padded cell. I'm like,
it's all good.
I'll just shave my head. I look better, and when I shave my head, I look younger because it's nothing but gray hair now.
Yeah.
I used to be a ginger.
Yeah, cool. I married my wife's a ginger, so hey, I'll take it, no problem. Gingers, they say you got what is it, like 2% or something of the population? It's very rare. Blue-eyed redheads are very, very, very rare.
Yeah,
in the gene pool, I guess. So
green-eyed redheads are even rarer.
That's right.
Which just reminds me of the time I met James Hong and he signed his autograph, "Bring me the girl with the green eyes."
That's great. He's such a good guy. I like him a lot. I really like him a lot. That's awesome.
Actually, I met him like 30 years ago.
Cool.
At like this little rinky-dink show in Boston. And he was sitting right next to Richard Hatch.
Oh, cool.
Captain Apollo from the original.
That's so cool.
From the original Battlestar Galactica,
Yeah.
which I'm a huge fan of.
Yeah.
And, I got his autograph and what a couple like small press books that he
That's cool.
That he had written on stuff and everything. They were both like super nice guys.
Sure. I was really sorry to hear that he passed away.
Yeah.
It was a real shame, because I grew up, watching like you did. It's and I look back now, I'm like, I can't believe that like the first Battlestar Galactica was like 79 or something. It was crazy. Mm-hmm. I don't remember it being that young watching it, but I saw it on the reruns, I think, in the early 80s. But yeah, it's crazy. But anyway.
Yeah, so let's start with first. Let's get an origin story on you on how you came to be in the medium of comics and storytelling.
Grew up in Detroit, Northwest Detroit. I was a big, I was in the era of Star Wars and that. I was kind of a sheltered kid. I was the youngest of 5 kids, but everybody was older than me by like 13 years. So good, Catholic family.
Mm-hmm.
I look at it more of I was a midlife crisis than a oops. So that's the way I looked at it. My brothers and my sister might argue that fact, but so I grew up there, and it was kind of it's like any big city. You got neighborhoods. We had a really good neighborhood, and the school was real close in that, but I was real sheltered. It wasn't, a lot of the kids were, brought in with their parents that drove them in and stuff. So I didn't really I had some interaction, but not a whole lot with outside of school. So I got into comic books early. I got into Star Wars early. I remember seeing Star Wars in the theater in the 70s. I remember 77 when it came out, I was 6. That whole thing, that whole era of buying the first R2-D2 and C-3PO at Checkers Pharmacy down the street from the house, and that the whole thing, the whole dynamic. And I got into comic books like right at that time too, and I was learning how to read, so that was a big part of me retaining how to read. So fast forward, I started drawing, and that was kind of my thing. So I ended up sticking with that. My dad was an artist. He worked for I don't know if you remember Soupy Sales or anything, but my dad worked for him. He was his photographer. So he did in Detroit and everything else. Soupy and him were pretty tight. And then after Soupy's show got canceled, Dad worked at Ford, got a designing gig at Ford. So all the time I grew up, he was at Ford. So I was always around, artists and Detroit Institute of Arts, everything. I was always around this. I couldn't get away from it. It's in my DNA too. So I'm very much a watercolor artist, like my dad was. And so that's how that started. I went to school to be an architect. That's my background. So I was in fine arts as well as cartooning, and architecture is just kind of I knew that Frank Lloyd Wright was a big thing in our house. My dad was a Welshman. My dad was from Wales. So anybody that, Frank Lloyd Wright was a descendant from Welsh heritage. And so it was like, the organic architect. And so that was kind of my upbringing too. So I spent 30 years doing that kind of architecture, like we talked about before we started, in ADA compliancy and making sure homes and that were safe for people, and as they aged and all that, as their lives demanded, and then the kids went to college, and Chris and I had an opportunity. We said, let's move. So we moved up north. We live on a Great Lake in up north Michigan, and it's been great. It's been it's beautiful. The sunrises are gorgeous. And about 4 years ago, I've been building up to this for about 8 years, 10 years to get into comic books and getting into graphic novels and more of that production work, stories, that type of thing. I've been writing quite a bit for the last about 8 years, and that's how it all started. So, and we've been published. I ended up self-publishing. I ended up getting my book Retrieve took off like wildfire, so that really went well. And we just got back from California for the development deal for that. So that was a pretty big deal. We just got back for that, so that was it's been one of these whirlwind. It's not overnight, but it was, it can happen though. So I'm telling people that get your story out there, get it published, so people will look at it, because you never know who's going to pick it up. And I mean that's pretty much the story. I broadcast, I do a lot of things, but I try to help people during the whole journey. Like you do. I try to help other creators. That's the whole idea. It's no good if I can't share, you know what I mean, with it. So.
And I caught a little show on your YouTube channel the other day, talking of alcohol.
Drinking with the Davies. Yeah.
And I was like, ooh.
That's it was my wife's well, I'm just kind of spoon boy. I'm like ice boy. I don't really it's not TED Talks, or it's not any of my other shows where I co-host. I'm more just the I don't know if a comic relief or what, but she really does all the mixing of the drinks. We really wanted to start something that was more culture based. Hey, let's bring back old drinks that nobody knows about, and maybe when people just had one or two cocktails, they didn't get plowed. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It wasn't about that. It was more so, let's just bring back some of the nuance and some of the culture, and it's been great, because Christine's really when it comes down to it, the history of the drinks, what it's made with, the whole history of what things were with it's really become quite a really cool thing for us. And it's fun. It's fun to have a show like that, especially when she can shine a little bit. So love that.
Yeah. I went to bartending school back in '99.
Awesome.
And then realized no place wants to hire a guy as a bartender.
Understand. I can understand that. But, it's part of the game, right? I mean, there's got to be bartenders, no matter what, So, I mean, don't.
I worked for a little while as a bartender, and I was friends with the owner, and I go, I just need some experience so I can, go work at a better place, that will actually pay me. And I said, I'll work for you like a couple of nights a week when I'm off from the club, and you don't have to pay me. I'll just work for whatever I get for tips.
Okay, that's fair. That's a pretty good deal, really.
And he's like, fine. But then his wife got mad and was like, because everybody was coming to me and nobody was coming to her. I go, well, that's because she doesn't smile and she's just angry all the time.
Okay.
And he was like, yeah, I don't know why she's angry all the time. I go, probably because she's married to you. He goes, well, yeah, that's legit. But that didn't last for long because I was working at the adult clubs in the city because I DJ'd at them for like 30 years.
Sure.
And he knew I worked there. So once in a while, he'd get lit while I was bartending, and then he would make me take him. Let's close. There's nobody here. We're going to close up early, and we're going to go to some place that you work.
Sure. Right.
Okay. He goes, don't worry. I'm buying everything.
Okay.
Let's go.
And the rest, as they say.
And the rest was history.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you ever take him out with you again. Go. He was my boss. He's ordering me. I'm the boss. I go, not of me.
And those, I mean, you got to have friends like that though, too. There's got to be some type of camaraderie there. I don't know how decadent it was, but I'm sure that, there's, but that you have to have friends like that. You do, no matter what your age, but yeah, that's cool. That's good though.
That's why I'm welcome at all my friends' houses, but none of them are allowed to come hang out with me because I am apparently I go, how bad influence can I be now? I'm crippled in a wheelchair. Relax. I go, I don't go anywhere. I don't do anything.
Yeah.
Although I do have my DJ equipment here.
Okay. Well,
and there's a couple of poles in the room that are
there you go. Well.
So I'm just saying,
I'm glad you're thinking outside the box. That's great.
Yeah. I'm not sure if I'm thinking outside the box or if I'm just thinking about the box. One can never tell. But either way, it's not set up. But I did back a few campaigns that do have vinyl.
Yeah, good.
As part of the reward.
It's an art form. I mean, and you have to wait for it, but boy, it's so worth it. I think that I'm a big collector of old vinyl, and that's I still have the originals my brothers and my sisters left at the house. I mean, Yellow Brick Road, and I mean on and on. Beatles. I'm a big Beatles fan anyway, but a lot of rockabilly stuff.
Yeah, I didn't have too much left.
Yeah.
Probably because when I was splitting up with my daughter's mother, her and her kids put like 3 big totes of my vinyl, threw them outside the back door in the middle of a blizzard, and let them all get ruined.
Yeah.
I still have a few original albums. I still have my original Far and a 4, Bitter Pain from Motley Crue, and a few other things. I still have a few of my big power records with the stories on them. They're all scratched to hell, but you can listen to enough of them.
Yeah, right.
And
well, I mean,
I've got an MP3 folder with that actually has every single power record that was ever made.
Well, that's good. So, I mean, isn't it amazing what we've come to? I mean, and as far as digital, it's amazing. I mean, considering what we had growing up, it just blows my mind.
Yeah,
it blows my mind. When CDs hit, I thought that was it. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, this is amazing. And then now it's
and then it went full blown digital.
It's just crazy.
And the only thing that bugs me is because now everybody thinks that they're a DJ.
Yeah, I know.
And I have a favorite meme that that just says everybody's a DJ until you put them in front of these, and it's just a picture of 2 Technics 1200s.
Yeah, like, that's great.
Where do I plug in my iPod?
Right.
You don't.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, back in the day, you know, even before Run DMC or any of that, I mean, it was absolutely amazing. I mean, it was absolutely amazing. Why even the Beastie Boys were,
Mhm.
I thought they were just unbelievable. I mean, it was almost, you know, we're talking about shtick and everything. It was almost that way, you know, when they were starting out. I don't really think they were, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure they had dreams of grandeur, but it was just something else. Incredible, just incredible amount of work that they put into it. And the talent was crazy, just
Oh yeah,
crazy. And that was all vinyl. I mean, that was all
I know.
samples, and I mean, it's crazy.
There's a few up and coming stores. There's one called the Black Wax Cafe.
Yeah,
I don't know how their prices are, but apparently Target and Walmart are selling
yeah,
exclusive vinyl now too.
yeah.
I'm like, oh
And there's got to be money in it. There's got to
yeah,
be.
and well, they're all like exclusive ones, so they
Yeah,
can
that
charge.
you can
So
only get their proprietary. Yeah,
there's an upswing in the pocket for them.
yeah,
I also know the Mondo shop
hmm,
sells a lot of vinyl. They do a lot of soundtracks and everything.
yeah.
I know it's on back order, but I got the last two Avengers movie soundtrack.
Oh, cool. That's
Um,
kind of cool.
it's on back order.
Yeah,
I sold a bunch of comics and I bought that. Usually I sell a bunch of comics and I just buy more comics.
right. Keep it burning. Yeah,
Everybody's got to have their vice, you know.
sure.
Uh,
I do. I've got them.
and
I've got
and
them. Comics
but
and
I thought
cigars, and yeah,
I thought it was cool because they did this soundtrack on 5 albums, and of course each album represented a different color of the stones from the Infinity Gauntlet.
oh, that's cool. What a great marketing thing. That's
You know,
awesome. Yeah.
so it was pretty pricey, but they're like, it's on back order. We'll let you know when it's back
Well,
in.
yeah. You pretty much have to wait for them. Do you have a laser reader recorder, or is it just diamond tip?
Just
Have you seen
diamond tip.
the laser readers on the vinyl? Have you seen those where they put they can
I,
read
I I've seen the one. It looks like a little eraser, like
yeah,
blackboard eraser,
yeah,
and you put it on top, and it just reads the whole
yeah.
album.
It's crazy. It's just nuts. I mean,
And
and
I know
the
you
cracks and
can
the pops
you
and everything and are
yeah
still
you can buy that, and there's an additional piece that you can get,
yeah.
so you can actually scratch with that if you're a DJ.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That's cool, man. I didn't
and
know
I'm
that.
like, I
That's
go,
cool.
well, that's good because that way you could scratch and actually not scratch anything.
Well, right. Exactly.
Hey, Lorenzo, how are you, sir? Good to see you.
How you doing, Lorenzo? Yeah, I mean, that's awesome. I didn't know they had that. I mean, well, why not? The technology's got to be there.
Oh
Why
yeah,
not? You know, that's crazy. Really, really cool.
but let's get into this. Now, this is book
Cool.
2.
Yes.
So why don't you give me a little background on the Grimm 101 series in book 1?
Sure. So, Grim 101 was a story I came up with. I mean, as a kid, I told you I was the youngest of 5 kids, but I didn't tell you my mom was from an old farm family back in the Depression era, and she was the youngest of 15 kids because that's what they did back then, right?
Uh-huh.
Free labor, basically, is what it was. But so when I was growing up, there was a big age difference between my siblings and me. My mom was 40 when she had me, so her family were dying off, her sisters and brothers. So every year I was pretty much going to a cemetery, or a grave or, burial, something, kind of like it was a birthday, every year it was consistently, there was somebody else passing away.
Hey,
And,
Chris.
hey, Chris, how you doing? And I ended up, I remember when I was about 12 years old, I was thinking about it, I said, I feel when I was at these cemeteries, and I felt kind of like I never knew these people, a lot of them, because they're so much older than me. But I felt guilty. I felt this like anxiety. I didn't know what it was. I just didn't feel right. I wasn't really grieving because I didn't know them, right? But if you've ever been to a cemetery, you might have that feeling where you just not dread, but you feel this anxiety and all that. So I made a mental note of that, and I'm like, well, okay, let me think about just as time went on. I started noticing that when we would go down these old country roads and that, there was a lot of these cemeteries are forgotten. They're all overgrown and nobody's been to them in, years, because people move on and the families die off and whatever. And I thought about it later in life, probably when I was probably a teenager, and then I started thinking about what if it wasn't, it was somebody that made you feel that way when you went to a cemetery. What if it was their job? And I did some research on what a grim was, and they were, protectors of certain things, but they also, in this book, Grim 101, it's about a being that makes you feel like it's supposed to make you feel like you've got anxiety and grief and everything else when you enter the cemetery. You're supposed to feel dread. You're supposed to feel terrible, right? And this guy's terrible at his job. He's really bad at his job. Everybody loves it there when they go to grieve or pay their respects to a loved one. And his name's Jim, and he doesn't know how he got there. He doesn't know why he's even there. He doesn't remember who he was before he woke up there. And he finds a book on the cemetery floor, and it says Grim 101. It's a manual of how to be a grim in a cemetery. So he figures, well, he must have hit his head, and he starts reading this manual. He thinks, well, this must be my job. And so he's there for about 150 years. Nobody's ever seen him or heard him. And it basically, the first book is his memoir of his daily life, of what he goes through and the feelings that he has and the desperation that he feels in that. And I did it in a memoir series so that you get kind of his journaling and what he deals with this book about. We've all been in jobs where we've had to read manuals, and they tell you what to do, the direction of where to go, when you have a 15-minute break, and he's read this book for the last 150 years. He hates his job. He hates everything about it, but he feels like he wants to make people feel happier. And the book ends. I'll let you know a little bit of an inside scoop here. The first book ends where the second book picks up, and the first book ends where he meets the neighbor next door that stays in the caretaker's cottage. She just moved in, and her name's Gwen, and she's kind of a Pinterest witch. She thinks that she ended up conjuring him up, and that's not what happens, but that's kind of the comedy side of it. But she ends up seeing him. She ends up seeing and hearing him, and she's the only one that's ever seen or heard him. And that's where the first book ends. The second book picks up from her standpoint, her memoir of all of it. So there's two different sides to this story. There's 4 books in the series, and the second book will take over Gwen's experience of Jim and everything around it and what happens. And then the third and the fourth book will be more along their story and how you find out how he got there and why he's there, and all this, it culminates into the fourth story. I might add that this book as well has brought up been brought up for option when I was out in California for my other book, Retrieve, that just got a development deal. They ended up picking this up as well. This will be starting to be option for script next year, because we've got to finish up what we're doing right now with my other book, Retrieve. But so it's going to be episodic. So I don't know if it's going to be who they're going to pitch it to, Netflix or whoever, but this is the grassroots now to get onto the first of the 4 books before it's taken over from the adaptation. So, but I wanted to do it as a Kickstarter so people could still get in on the ground floor. That's a beauty of this, that people can see it and be part of it before it goes to the next level, So yeah, that's pretty cool. So we're excited about it. So I don't know if I explained that all the way, but the video is really good. I mean, there's some fantastic voice-over work that we did in both the videos. Very, very happy. Helen Fleming was one of the ones that did the voiceovers for the second book, promo. But yeah, it's been fantastic. So it's been very well received. Like I said, it's been really good. A lot of Kickstarters right now, though, and I think that's probably why we've kind of plateaued a bit. It's just part of it. It's just part of the game. You just have to. We've got about 8 days left, I think. So
yeah. So. It's been for some reason everybody wants to put their book out in the fall.
Yeah. Well,
so there are tons of books on Kickstarter right now, and as well as Indiegogo.
Right.
And it's just I looked at him. I go,
it's a lot. There's a lot.
I go,
and a lot to choose from.
I can't do this.
One of the and you'll as you go through the campaign, you'll see it. I've got we ended up doing a figure, a limited edition figure for Jim the Grim that I'm hand painting. I'm going through I had Damian Wabram from O Toys. He's doing all my work on Retrieve as well. Any of the Archimedes that we're doing on the other series. We won't get into that today, but Jim the Grim's going to have his own figure on this campaign as well, limited edition, certified, numbered, and all that. And I'm going to be actually doing that live tomorrow. I'm going to be painting one of the figures tomorrow at 1 o'clock on my station, so on my YouTube channel. But I can show you. I don't know if you want to bring me up for a second. I'll show you the figure as it's in resin here. But you guys can see it's taken from the first book. Let me get here's the first book here, so you can see the similarities in what he did here. It's just amazing what he did with this. Not really doing it justice, cool. but yeah, he did just a fantastic job. Damien's awesome. So yeah, we'll be doing that. We'll be painting that up tomorrow, and looking forward to do it. I've got a couple of them mocked up, but yeah, it's really going to be awesome. So
cool.
And again, it's limited edition, and that one's going for that's an add-on. You can actually buy them in a tier, or you can purchase them for $75. It also comes with it's going to be completely encased with the dome. I've actually got the dome here, and it'll actually have a base as well. So it'll be sitting. You'll have it all encased and everything with the. Yeah, it's done right. It'll be really done well. Yeah. So okay, sorry about that. I just wanted to tell you about that. I'm excited about it, as you can tell. So.
You were excited about that, and I got excited from the old classic Hildebrand Star Wars shirt you had on.
Oh, thank you. I love it. It's one of my favorites. I remember having the poster. Do you remember the posters that came out when they first released? Oh yeah, man! If I would have had one of those still.
There's pictures of me with Star Wars tank tops.
Yeah.
Where my Scotch Irish skin is as red as the girl's hair.
Yeah.
On the screen right now.
Yeah, that's cool.
And yeah,
she's got to be a redhead. I mean, she's got to be. It's one of the things in the story that, and it's similar to a lot of people ask me, is it my wife? Is it Christine? I always take from certain inspirations. She's always my muse in all my books. It doesn't matter if she's a character in there or not, but Gwen has a lot of attributes, I'm sure, of my wife. But there's something about her. There's certain things in the story with Gwen that she's very. You're going to find out a lot more about her as you read her memoir and what she's dealing with. She's got a lot that she's dealing with, and that's where it gets kind of, in a gothic sense, kind of a dark comedy. So I mean, and I think that there's one of the things when I write, I think the reader finds out more about themselves, and I think that's important than what the story's really saying. I think that's really important, no matter what you're doing, whether it's comic book or I consider this an illustrated novel. I've also done them. I've also got, this is the first book, and this one is in the hardback, but we've got a green version of this coming out with the second one, and you'll see that in the campaign. But nice. Each of these books, the hardbacks, they're set up a little bit differently than the soft cover, the one that I had here. But just so that you know, they're set up just a little bit differently, and I've left spaces in there because I've got educators in my family that requested that they leave a little bit of space so that young adults or whoever's reading this can actually make notations and kind of figure out if they've got a memoir in them. There's a lot of things there too that I'm trying to look at to get kids, not just kids, but young adults involved in writing and developing stories and breaking down stories too, not just looking at it for entertainment. That's great, but if they're interested in doing that other thing, it's fun for me. So
cool. Well, let's take a look at the trailer.
Sure.
Most of my life I've felt alone, but not here. I suppose living next to a cemetery, your neighbours are always close. It is peaceful and quiet, but not lonely. In fact, since my first visit amongst these graves, I've felt a presence, a calmness that fills the air and surrounds me like a gentle morning mist. That's how I know he is there. is a feeling of being watched from afar. I wait in silence as well, until we meet.
So hopefully that's intriguing enough. So
Yeah. So that was Glenn's wife, huh?
correct. That's Helen. She's terrific. I'm actually going to, we're talking about later on, once the campaign's funded, we're going to be talking, and once we've got the books in production, we're talking about doing audio collaboration with both of them, because full disclosure, Glenn did the voiceover for the first video in the first campaign, and their voices do so well in the storyline. I wasn't thinking that way when I was writing it. I was thinking of an American voice, but when I thought about it, I'm like, man, I broke it down. I mean, my dad was still alive, I would have had him. He had just a fantastic Welsh accent. Sounded like Richard Burton. I used to hate bringing girls home because they would fall in love with his voice, and it was, I hated it. I couldn't compete with it, right? But yeah, Glenn just knocked it out of the park with his voiceover. But Helen's got such a beautiful voice. So yeah, I think later we're gonna end up doing. I'd like to do an audio book, audio caption book, something in the future. So it just depends on what where it is with everything, and what we're allowed to do once the adaption's done with in LA. So
yeah. I'm supposed to be doing an audio book too. Author wants me to read all the. She does a book called Loki that has nothing to do with Marvel.
Okay.
And she researched all the lore of all that, and changed it up a little bit. But the book has done very well and has lots and lots of great reviews on Amazon.
Excellent.
And she's moving on to like other books, but she's also started working on the audio book for the first Loki book. And she's like, I want you to read for a couple of things. And she had me read for a couple of things, and she's like, and then because I've had my throat ripped apart from medical things, and I had a tracheotomy at one point.
Yeah.
And until I ripped it out, threw it across the room. They didn't like that much.
I'm sure.
They go, "Can you breathe?" I go, "Well, I'm talking."
Yeah. Well.
Like, oh. So anyhow, she wants me to read as Hades.
Okay. Cool.
So, all I keep thinking of is the old Hercules animated film from Disney. Yeah.
That's great, though. What a great animation that is. That's been use that to your advantage, man. Use it to inspire yourself. It's good.
So at some point, she just had surgery not long ago, and is getting back on her feet now. So, and the holidays are coming up, so probably like first quarter of next year.
Good. I wish you luck on that. That's great. Yeah, keep me in the loop on that.
So, that'd be good, because I can just read lines, record them here, and send the file to somebody.
That's the beauty of that's the best.
It's like at least the internet did something good for me.
Always look for the good.
Always look for the good. Yes.
Yep. Campaign's pretty solid. Lisa Malone, management, actually helped me run the campaign. She ran the last one as well. Mm-hmm. And I suggest it would have been easier for me to not have her, but I really wouldn't have had the success I had on the last campaign if it wasn't for her, or on this campaign for that matter. She really knows she knows what she's doing, and I don't have to worry about a lot of stuff. I can keep working, producing my content, my books, and my YouTube channel and everything else. So yeah, if you guys are looking for anybody as far as a campaign manager, she's terrific, absolutely terrific. I can't recommend her enough. Malone Management, but
oh yeah, she sent a few people my way this month.
Yeah, She's terrific.
You, April, and is it Ron?
I don't know, Ron.
Snowpaw. The book.
Oh, Snowpaw. Yeah, I don't know. I know the campaign, but I don't know.
And a few months back, I had contacted her because I wanted to get JT Malloy on for his series.
Got it. Good.
So, met a bunch of good people, and I've known her on and off for a while.
Yep, she's quality. She's good person. I always try to put my synopsis and everything in the. If you some people don't like to read, some people don't like watching videos, but if you guys, if you can go through all of this, it'll give you the breakdown of where I came up with the idea, how my mind works, which is a scary thought, but it gives you at least an idea, breakdown of what, why I'm writing this in this format. It is kind of an experiment. And I wanted to see the memoir side of characters because I've always liked that. And I thought it'd be interesting to throw in kind of an illustrated novella memoir versus just a comic book or a graphic novel. These all have artwork in them. Both the books, all 4 of the books will have artwork in them. And then there's also a preface too, so you can get that breakdown too of how all of it came together. And again, some people, it just depends on what you're into, but some people like to try to have it spelled out for them too. So we do have stretch goals, of course. I'm being a realist. I've always been that way. I want to be able to cover costs. That's my thing. If I can get to the point where we can cover costs, then I'm happy. The books are going to be beautiful once we fund, I know. But I'm being a realist too, though. There's 8 days, and I'd love to have it up to $5,500. But I'm, like I said, a realist. I think once people get the story and get it down, then it'll be a different story. It'll start building the momentum. Craig Hall out in California saw the potential of what's going to happen, but he also knows how the book ends. So it's a different, how his adaptation is going to be. It's a little bit different too. Mm-hmm. And it's different audio too. Live action is different, or video. Live action adaptions are different than books, as you know.
Oh yeah.
So this is just another way to tell the story, and this is really the original way to tell the story, the way I wanted.
That's why we always say the books are always better than the movie.
Right.
The movie's the easy way to ingest it.
Yeah, right.
But
and visually, it's great, but
the true way to ingest it is by reading the book.
Yeah.
And
that's what I want people to look at it from that standpoint. They're on the ground floor, the grassroots movement here. Now, the artwork I put in, this is all what I try to do is I start out with I do everything in a very gray tone watercolor, and I do that first, and then as we go through, I've developed the paintings. So I don't know if they've got them updated there. They're updated for the people that have actually backed the campaign. There's updates coming through emails, and you see these in color. I've got a few of them here. If you just want to take a peek. I've got a few that I've been working on for the last couple of days. So I'm turning it here because of the light. It's kind of weird, but so this is these are going to be part of the inserts in the book as far as the pages. So between the memoir, the journaling, if you want to call it that, these works, I'm still working on a few of these, but they're give you an idea of the watercolor scope of what I'm trying.
I like the mossy tone there.
Thank you. And once you see them, and I've got a few things I'm doing digitally, and then you'll see this one here, give you a little bit more of a feel for. It's hard to. I'm sorry about the light, guys. It's so bright in here, but you can see it's very ethereal. It's very, and that's the whole idea. I wanted it to be kind of like you're waking up in the story, and as it goes, it's going to get more detailed in the 3rd and 4th book. So there's a real method to it.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense to me because for many years I lived next to a cemetery.
You understand, and I do too. We do too now. In fact, we live in a cottage next to the cemetery, which I'm like, I got to use this, man. This is crazy. So yeah, I mean, absolutely. And it's very quiet, right on the Great Lake. So we got all this energy, all the waves, and then you just turn over to the right a little bit here, and then you see how quiet it is in this, and it's kind of eerie. It's good, but it's very, it's an interesting thing, because you've lived by a cemetery,
Yeah, my mother actually used to walk through. She grew up in Fall River, Mass.
Yeah,
it's where all of our family is originally from.
Mm-hmm.
And she was an only child until her parents got divorced, and my grandfather remarried this woman, and, you know, read a passage in the Bible about being fruitful and multiplying, and he did. So my mother went from being an only child to the oldest of 11.
You know how that works then. You understand.
Yeah.
My mom, is 15. So yeah, it's crazy. It's good though. Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
And she used to walk through, you know, she only had, you know, a couple of friends, and when she was growing up, and she used to, you know, keep to herself a lot, you know, lots of chores, you know, back when kids used to have to actually do chores.
Yeah.
They didn't just get stuff.
Yep.
And she would, like, you know, just take a book and walk through the cemetery and then sit on one of the benches in the cemetery and just sit there and read a book all day.
Yeah. Must have been a good Grimm there. He must have been a nice guy or a nice girl. Well, yeah, that's great. That's great. And people used to do, I mean, when we were out in California, we went, one of the first things I did was I wanted to go out and pay my respects to a few people, you know, Jack Lemmon, Marilyn Monroe, that kind of stuff. And, you know, that's people were sitting down there having lunch on their lunch hour. They're sitting by Burt Reynolds' grave, eating their lunch, taking in the sun, relaxing. It's like a big park, you know, even though there's, you know, it's a cemetery. And that was kind of that was the thing. It was a park, and they show movies on Friday nights during the summer. It's crazy. I mean, it's beautiful in one respect. What great way to honor these stars, right? But anyway, okay, I digress. Sorry, I know you're trying to get through this. So
we've got the digital version of book 2 for 15.
Right.
We call that the Australian variant.
Right. Right.
The soft cover includes all unlocked stretch goals, of course. Everything does for physical, and the soft cover is 15 as well.
Right. We wanted the options so that people, you know, I really would love them to have the book. We're shipping worldwide, so I'm trying to make sure that, you know, I would love for them to have the PDF if that's all they want. That's great, but I really want them to have a hard copy if they can. That's why I priced it that way. So if anybody's wondering, but anyway, didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, the shipping is terrible. I know.
Yes,
Rainey that did Fiendish.
Yes,
had to ship a book to Australia when because they had shut everything down, and then they reopened it up.
Yep.
And it cost her like $70 to ship one book to Australia.
Yeah, I believe it.
And I'm like,
you know, we'll look at that. If it comes through and that's what we've got to do, then no problem. Let's figure it out.
In the UK, when you ship to the UK, they want you to keep track of the taxes from the stuff that you have going in there, and they want you to pay the taxes. I'm like, we left your country because of this crap. What makes you think we want to do this?
We one of the things I set up is I've got a printer in the UK. So I ended up, that's the way I'm handling. I do that. I've done that for years, and that's the way to do it. So I have the books, the identical books, but they're printed in the UK, and then they're shipped out directly. And that's really the only way to do it. Australia, well, whatever. We'll have to take a hit. Russia, whatever. But we'll figure it out. I mean, that's the, you know.
Yeah, that's what Marv V did. He's the creator for the Sing Killer.
Yeah.
And he had them printed like in the UK and shipped to the creator of Life on Korra,
right?
Mike Jimmy, who did the fulfillment for him,
right,
on that side of the globe,
right. And that's
and then all the US ones were done here, and RJ from Critical Blast did all of that here.
Yep. Yeah, it's just it's just, you know, just working it out, just deep thought, figure it out. There's a way to do it. How do we do it? Is the most economical way we can do it.
Mm-hmm. And I'm a big hardcover fan.
Me too.
The hardcover of book 2 is only an extra $5. For an extra $5, you can have the hardcover. I would get the hardcover. Yeah.
And it'll last, I think. I mean, I love the soft cover with everything, but yeah, I just like it. It's a journal. It looks like a journal. You know, it's a memoir, you know, and each of the colors are a little bit different. Each of the first one is like the brown, like I was saying, then the second one will be green. We're not sure what the third and the fourth book are going to be yet, but we figured with it being Gwendolyn's viewpoint, we thought the green, especially with her being this if you want to call it naturalist type of vibe, I figured green was such a good, and that was actually Lisa's idea. So very, very good thought. So.
And you have book 2, the soft cover, and a print of the cover.
Correct. Without any badging, but yeah.
And then the hardcover with the print for $30.
Yep.
And the Mortician bundle.
Catch up. So you get the soft covers. So you get 1 and 2. So you can read the, what we've got, and then you also get the print
for $35. Hardcover and softcover bundle.
Right. Wanted to give you some variety if you want that. Just depends on what if you want a second book to give away or what have you.
They make a lovely gift.
Yeah, very much so.
And
Gravedigger
bundle. I like that name.
Yeah.
Reminds me of a truck from my childhood.
Yeah. Big time.
Both current hardcovers and a print of the softcover book 2 cover.
Correct.
A retailer bundle. So it's 5 books and 5 prints.
Right.
For $50.
That's been a pretty. I always have to look out for the retailers because we've been really fortunate with retailers. They've been awesome nationwide. It's been great. So gotta take care of them.
That's that's a good bundle for them. It's
And I sign everything too. I mean, and then we make arrangements for me to come out once the COVID things. Some of them won't let you do signings in the building yet, so that's okay. But yeah, once that's smoothed over, we'll set up a time. It's great because that way they've got stock and they're selling independent. That's a big thing too. A lot of these comic companies, comic book stores will sell independents if you've got the right barcode and if you so I provide all that.
In the retailer bundle 2, which gets you 5 of book 1, 5 of book 2, and 5 prints from the book 2 for $100.
Right. And everything's bag and boarded as well. The prints won't be boarded, but they'll be bagged as well. And I ship everything out with Gemini mailer. It costs a little bit more, but so much worth it. It's so worth it. Just to make sure your guys' stuff gets there not damaged. I really pride myself on that.
The stores can do the bundle, book 1 and book 2, and be like, there's prints as well, and they're signed.
Yep. And they usually sell pretty fast when they're in stock like that. I've been very fortunate with that. So,
original art plus Grimm 101 book 2.
Right.
Pick 2 4.5 by 6 original drawings from the book.
Right.
Available on the first come, first served basis, $200.
Right. And that'll be in color as well. The prints or the artwork. So, yeah, and they're good prices on that's actually really good pricing on my artwork. We've been I'm to the point now where we've had a definite increase with everything with the development pack. Everything happened with the developments. There's been an increase in people have been buying up my artwork like crazy. So right now I wanted to keep something that was still tangible that could be affordable, in the campaign. But
and the Caretaker Associate Producer. Both hardcovers, both soft covers, the print, a 9x12 custom artwork, and Jim the Grimm limited figure.
Correct. And that's all, and Jim's all hand painted by me, the full figure, everything. It'll also have a base on it as well that'll be done, and I'll have that all textured up. So I'm an old school miniature painting guy, so I've been around a long time doing this, but it'll be painted
I'm terrible at that.
It's a passion of mine. My old model railroader, from long ago.
Oh yeah.
But it'll be painted in the same color scheme as what you see in Grimm 101 book 1. You'll see the same color scheme that he's in, very similar to that. So very ethereal, but you'll know it's me. It's from my hand, and I'll make sure we've got certified paperwork with it as well. We're limited to 16, I think, overall. And I've already had, I don't know how many we've got now in the cause, but I think that there's a lot of people. I know they're running out now. I know that Damien's going to have to print some more up soon, but yeah. So,
yeah, I know.
Tomorrow,
I know the show I saw you the other day. I know Pop Culture Avenger bought one.
Yeah.
Because why wouldn't he?
Right.
He
Paul's
has
great.
everything else.
Paul's the best. Yeah. Paul's the best. Yeah, he's a terrific guy. Anything that he has for sale too is excellent. Excellent quality. He packages up stuff. I mean, he does a good job. So kudos to Paul. Pop Culture Avenger, absolutely. But yeah, so it was an idea that I came up with. I really wanted to have something that was different, and I wanted a collector's piece because what I've been asked, a lot of people have been asking me for collector's pieces. Retrieve and all the other things I've got going, they've got a action figure with that, but I wanted something for Grimm that's for the collector that wants something and I know it's going to go up in value straight away. And then it's certified and it's, I signed it and everything. That's important to me. It was important because I know I'm a collector and I wanted something that's going to be good and it's going to last, and they could have the full gamut then, when they got the books, everything, and the figure from the original, the original Kickstarters. I think that's going to be just dynamite. And then once it goes into adaption and then on and on and on, and it, if it gets made into episodes and everything else, it's just going to be dynamite. So I think it's going to be good. It's going to be good.
Now, on any of your custom artwork, are there rules around it?
So what we're going to do is we're going to do a custom piece, and we'll talk about that because I don't know if it was ever really spelled out. I'm a watercolor ink artist is what I do. It's fully, it's going to be traditional. It's going to be based in the Grimm theater, if you want to call it that. So I will look into it, but I believe the way that we specified it, it's only in the Grimm format. I don't think I'm going to be doing anything else. But what I will do is I'll double check that, and I will make a statement here that if it's just not suiting you, and a lot of people want something original from the original book, that kind of stuff. They want something that's very unique from the book. But if it's not suiting you, I'll work with you on that. So don't worry about that. If there's something that, hey, I've got an idea. Would you like from one of my other books, say for Retrieve or something, you want something done up in that type of environment, we'll work with you on that. So absolutely.
Okay. And okay, I see. This is the same as that one, except this one is on 11 by 17.
Right. So that's a full.
This is the big
literally
boy.
A full spread. Yeah, that's a cover. That's a cover artwork piece. I mean, it's 11 by 17, and what we would normally have for a panel for an interior or for a cover on a book, for a regular comic book. So these are also so that gives you an idea. So if there's usually when people get my work though that are in part of when they're buying it on Kickstarter, they go with what the book is, that theme. But like I said, we'll work with you on that. Anybody knows my style though. It's still going to be good. I think it's going to be good whatever we end up doing. So, but I'll treat that uniquely as we go. And I probably should have Lisa write that in there. But now we've got some of my other work that I've done over the years. One of the problems,
Albino Zulu.
Yeah, one of the problems that I had at Comic-Cons and that was I've got everything so it's for young adults or older. I didn't have anything for kids, and I was sitting there talking to my wife. I'm like, there's not really anything for kids. I was having all these kids come up, and they want me to do these $5. What I do is I'll do $5 sketch art for them, Star Wars or whatever they want. If there's something that they really want, but then a lot of them can't afford, going down, having $30, $40 sketches for them. I can get something small. I said, well, why don't we do a comic book about a character that they could draw? I mean, it's a smaller book. I've got it right here. It's a smaller book, but it's I have it so that it's black and white. They can color the inside of it, and it's set up so that there's they're learning something about. I mean, it's fun. It's not I probably would think it's about for 8 years or older, and it's basically 007 meets Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I mean, it's about an alien that who's an albino, that the Zulu tribe chieftain finds. He finds this alien in the middle of the Serengeti, and he raises him as his own. Teaches him all the different types of martial arts that they the Zulu tribe can teach you. And it's amazing the technology that they have. So, and it's all about, how he fits into a group of people that maybe he shouldn't fit into. And it's a very good story. It's a very healthy story. It's not anything that's going to be derogatory, but it's fun. And it's something that you could actually get the PDF version as well. And you can print that out for your kids, and then they can send it back to me, and I put it up on the refrigerator, take pictures, all that stuff. It's interactive, and that's the whole idea behind it. But, and, he's trained by, I don't know if you know what a pangolin is. You know what a pangolin is? You ever heard of a pangolin?
Are those the little black and white guys that like fish?
No.
Oh, okay.
It sounds like penguin, right? Yeah. Well, pangolin it's an endangered animal, and I didn't know this. And they look like they're like a cross between an armadillo and an aardvark, and that's who trains him. So, but they're endangered. So I figured I'd do two for, I'd say, hey, okay, now we can show people that this thing's endangered too, but it's just a big thing to show people that what can be done. So kids are excited. But I've had this out. It did really, really well. But it's fun. It's strictly fun. The second issue, I haven't released yet. So this will be the first time that it's out. There's the pangolin there, and he's got this killer frisbee. It's just a fun story. It's completely different than anything else I've done. But the frisbee, this whammo frisbee, is just deadly. It's really a lot of fun. But so gives you an idea.
And you can color it.
You can color it. It's black and white. So the covers are obviously color, but yeah, gives something for the kids to do. Retrieve 1. This is actually the second printing. This is a brand new cover that we just did, and it's actually going to be showcased on Comics Unlimited next month.
Nice.
So Glenn's got that picked out, and he requested it. So yeah, that's the first releasing of the second printing of the book. That's the movie adaptation book for live action. That's we were out in California back in September. Mm-hmm. We've been on scripting it with Craig Hall, the producer out in LA, for about a year. And finally we got out there to sit down with Film Pool out in Burbank, and we signed, so we've got everything worked out for the adaptation now. So we're trying to get everything for the episodes. We're basically, I think we're going to be going episodic on this for like a Netflix or one of those markets. That's going to be kind of our niche, live action. So we're working on all that now. So that'll probably be, we're going to have the script done probably by the end of this year, beginning of next year. And so that should be great. So that's a really interesting, very heavy story, very, very heavy story. So,
well, congratulations on that.
Thank you. That was, we were really blessed with all that. And then we also have the second printing of issue number 2. And that'll be, like I said, these are the first that they've come out. They haven't been released yet. So you'll be the first ones to get it. And of course, I'll sign them. And then we've got the Pièce de Résistance. This is the figure that I'm going to be starting to paint tomorrow, actually. I've got a few of them that were shipped in already from Damian Walbram down in Louisville at O Toys. And we're really excited about this. This is going to be great. I'm really looking forward to getting that all done. Had a lot of interest in that. So then this basically goes through my spiel of who I am and my background. So gives you an idea. It's a good campaign. It's solid. It's not real expensive. There's a couple tiers that might be a little bit more of an investment, but and then of course, Melissa Malone Management.
Yeah.
So gives you an idea.
And we'll take a look through the tiers.
Sure.
I like to flip through and just look to see what you got on for backers. And
sure. I know a lot of them got on early. We really hit it right out of the park, right out of the gate. I mean, it was like in the first 12 hours, and that happens. That's part of the plateauing thing. That's just part of it, which I was very happy to see, because I knew people would. That's always good to see when it's right out of the gate and they're investing immediately. I knew that, and I knew my core fans would be investing right away. But again, it plateaued. So I'm like, well, let's just see how the game plays out, and I know we'll fund, I'm sure, but it just still, it's like anything. It's like sailing a boat, you got a sailboat and you got some wind in the sails, and then sometimes you don't. So we just have to, take it as it comes. But it helps having people like you on the, out here letting us come on and talk about it. So I appreciate it.
Now I know I've talked to some people that do really well with the retailer tears,
Yes.
but they also say because they usually run their campaigns on Indiegogo.
Yes.
So once they fund, they can go in demand.
Yep.
And just like, even though you're doing yours on Kickstarter, you can actually transfer your Kickstarter campaign to Indiegogo.
Right.
Because it funded and
Right.
keep it in demand.
And I know that that's an option right now. I want to kind of wait because I've had a couple over the last, I've seen people that won't do Kickstarter. They'll only do Indiegogo and vice versa.
Yeah.
So I kind of wanted to wait and I wanted to see what's available, with the option. But yeah, I definitely, we've already got a game plan of what we're going to do with that. But, baby steps, I want to get this funded first and then we'll see where we're at. Fulfillment's really important to me too. This will be fulfilled in February.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to give it a little time because the holiday and the paper shortage and all that other stuff people are coming up with right now. I'm going to just kind of see what happens. And I want to have a little time. The book's about, I'd say 50% done right now because the artwork, I've got to end up sending the book over to editing. So I've got some time there during the holiday season. I'm going to be working that. I'll get the thing printed up in January, obviously, and then we'll send it out in February. Probably the first week or so of February. So
yeah, all the early birds are gone.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know Sam has told me who does Sonoma Publishing.
Yeah.
He's told me he's got retailers on the left side that will put their order in while the campaign's still active. And then he's got a whole ton of other retailers that only want to put their order in once he's got the books in hand to ship them out.
Thank you. Exactly. And that's right. And then I still offer those packages once for the retailers because I understand that point. And I know that it's going into the holiday season right now. And so I was, because I'm very aware. I've got one of my sponsors is a comic book shop, and I totally understand where they're coming from.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd rather give them the opportunity after the thing's been funded. And of course we're going to sell it because they're also selling my product afterward as well too.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but I mean, it's a good campaign. It's a solid campaign. And I've got a good proven track record with fulfillment and everything.
You're only 509 away.
Yeah.
And in the last 48 hours, Kickstarter's going to send out those emails to everybody on the thing. Yeah. You're like, you're running out of time.
Yeah. Well, fingers
this
crossed.
Ends in 48 hours.
Yeah.
Get your books now and you'll get that big pump up at the end.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's, it's still good. And, being the 8 days since everybody paid their rent and mortgage this week.
Right. Right. I know.
This doesn't finish until they get their paycheck next week.
Correct. So, I think we end the 14th. I think that's right. So, the 14th. We started at 7:00 on the whatever it was. Yeah. So it should be on the 14th, if I'm not mistaken. That's Sunday.
So it's safe, but Sunday. Although Kickstarter doesn't take the money out until the end of the campaign.
Correct.
So people can pledge now and not worry about it.
Right.
I know a lot of people, myself included, like the fact that Indiegogo, steals our money right away.
Yeah.
Because then I don't forget about it. And then all of a sudden, where's my money?
You get a ding on your, I understand that. And I'm the same way. I know what you're saying. Either way. I
did that when I the very first time I started doing these.
Yeah.
I couldn't help myself, and I pledged to every book
for
like the first 9 shows I did, and then realized I had no money.
Sure, absolutely.
And, I got some great books. I also
but you can't eat them. You might be able to eat them. But,
I didn't. I was on salads for about 2 months.
No doubt. Yeah. Understandable.
Not that I couldn't. Not that I shouldn't be on salads for forever. Because
variety, spice of life, though, right? I love a good salad. Don't get me wrong, but
so
I'll understand. But we're still really happy with everything. The artwork's been really good. I've been feeling really good when we're on the board, and doing all of it. It's been very well received. Like I said, people have been, even the adaptation with Craig Hall, getting that news was huge. And that was before it launched, before we launched the campaign. And that, and that's one thing too, it's separate. It's completely separate from this. It's not, this is my own thing. I own the rights to all the books, and you know what I mean? That's my thing. If it ends up any book that goes to adaptation, you always want to be careful with that and that type of ideal, that you own your own book and your own copyright and your own IP. It's important.
Yeah.
But yeah, I appreciate you, doing this, because I know I do it for people too, and it's not an easy thing. It's time consuming, and you want to help out people as much as you can. Even liking and sharing helps, So
yeah. So if you're listening or watching this now, and you don't currently have the funds, even though you can put it on a credit card and it won't get billed until the 14th.
Right.
Please share it out everywhere you get social with your media, so we can get more eyes on the project.
Thank you.
And check it out for yourself. This, of course, Ted's batting 1,000. He's got 2 IPs. One that they just signed off on to, for the option. They're working on the script, and Grim 101 is going to be the next one going, and they've already got interest, and they're all set to go on that as well. So
next year,
he's
stories are good. I promise they're entertaining. They're good.
Ted and his wife somewhere in the house are hiding a bottle with Barbara Eden in it. So
yeah, right.
She pops out, but it's just a skeleton now.
No, right. There's probably a comic book in that somewhere.
Yeah. There's a comic book in just about everything.
Just about. Yeah, like I said, I appreciate your time, Will. Thank you.
So we want to thank you for coming on. It's been wonderful finally getting to talk to you face to face on the screen.
No doubt, man. It's been a blast.
It's better than me trying to do this from a hospital bed.
Yes, absolutely.
When the nurses would keep coming in and interrupting me, and I would probably turn the camera on them so everybody could enjoy my view. Please check this out. I would highly recommend the hardcovers, since the hardcovers are only an extra $5.
Yeah. You
get the soft covers for $15. You get the hardcovers for $20, and you got the Australian variant for $15.
Yeah, right.
Everybody should just put like a kangaroo sticker on all their PDFs.
That's a good idea. That's a really good idea.
Market it as the Australian variant.
Mm-hmm. That's terrific. They got to come up with another word, because variant's not really good right now. There's just there's too many.
The Aussie edition.
Yeah, there you go. Down under.
Oh yeah.
So
we want to thank everybody for that popped in the chat tonight. RJ from Critical Blast, Lorenzo, of course, as always, Chris Fisk.
Yep. Thanks, guys.
And thanks for coming in and checking out the broadcast and sharing it out. And we will talk to everybody soon. Have a great weekend, and peace, love, and read some comic books.
Thanks, guys.